Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel Crazy Over Parties. So before we get started, you guys already know, please make sure that you like, subscribe, share the channel with other creators, DIYers, event planners, balloon artists, anyone that you know that would enjoy the videos that we post. Y'all know that we do a lot more than just balloons here. We do flowers. We're going to start doing backdrops, building projects, and so much more. So if you have a DIYer in your family or in your friend group, send them our way, okay? We really appreciate that. It helps us out a lot. And I can already tell that you guys have been doing that and watching our videos in its entirety. And I cannot thank you enough for watching the full video. Thank you guys so much. All right, so I am on a setup, and this setup is going to be like a cowgirl themed balloon garland. And if you watched my previous video and I was doing the metal backdrops with the cloth cover, and I was kind of having not too much of an issue with it, but I just really didn't like it. Well, we're going to take it a step further this video, okay? We're going to have those same backdrops outside. I did not know that these backdrops were going to be outside, guys. And if you watched my last video, you already know some of the, I don't want to say problems, maybe just like some of the little minor details that I really didn't like about these backdrops before. But now that they're outside, I really have a headache, y'all. So let's just go ahead and get into how this thing turned out. So I am inflating my balloons, and because this is an outside balloon garland, I am under inflating my balloons because I do not want them to get under the sun and pop. It is a fairly windy day and it's not extremely hot outside, but if you've watched my videos before, I always tell you guys that the sun does affect balloons. So especially for outside balloon garlands, I underinflate my balloons. So I am overinflating them when I put the air, and then I'm going to release some of that air while pushing that balloon against my skin. And I am going to place my balloons in sets of 4s. I am then going to add 4 more balloons of the same color to that set so I can have a total of 8 balloons before I change the color. I am starting with 11 and 17-inch balloons, and all my larger 24, 36, anything larger I will add later, as well as my 5-inch balloons. I will add those details once I have the base of my garland built and blown. For this install, I am using Gemar Black, Gemar Brown, and Ellie's printed cow print balloons. I will make sure that I leave the colors in the description box just in case you guys need them. So while I finish up blowing up balloons, if anybody is new to balloon decor, or if you're a new event planner and you're just trying to get started in the game, I am already going to give you a pro tip. 1, if your balloon setup or if your event is supposed to be inside and somehow at the last minute your client changes the event to outside, there should be a fee associated with that. Now, you guys that are experienced event planners or balloon artists, tell me in the comments section if you disagree with me. But here's my thought process on that. If I ask you originally if your event is going to be inside or outside, and you tell me inside, number 1, I'm happy and I'm jumping for joy, because setting up an event indoors is a whole lot less stressful than setting up an event outdoors, okay? The elements being out there outside in the elements, you just don't know what to expect. Anything can happen. Anything can happen indoors as well, but an outside event, it's just, you just do not know. When I send out my contracts for outside events, I already charge extra for an outside event because they are a headache. I honestly can't really think of any outside events that I have ever had that just was not, even if it was just a small problem, just it was not as easy as they are doing them inside. So if you have an outside setup, just go ahead and prepare and bring everything that you can think of that could help you that day and help the wind if it decides to blow and mess up everything. Just anything that you can think of, bring it with you, because outside events are a different ball game. It's a little bit better when they're under a tent, but if they're just outside exposed to the elements completely, it's just different. It's a headache. I love events. I know a lot of event planners say they will not service out or, do outside events. I necessarily haven't 100% taken it that far just yet, but I understand completely why they do. All right, and now guys, you guys can see the printed balloons here, the little cow print balloons. The quality of those balloons overall were pretty good. I wasn't expecting them, or I was expecting the worst, honestly, because sometimes you just don't know when you're using a different brand of balloons. Everybody says their balloons will be good, and then when you start blowing them up, all of a sudden everything's just popping. But those balloons overall were really good. I was really impressed at the quality of them. And because these balloons were printed, I decided not to do two sets like I normally do. You guys know, like I do two sets of four before I change the color. Instead, because these balloons were printed, I decided to do one set and then make the brown, and then one set and then black, just to break up the pattern a little bit. I didn't want the pattern to overtake the entire garland. Let me know if you disagree with me or if you would have done something a little bit differently. That way I kind of have some ideas of how to improve my work. And now that I have most of the balloons blown up, I am going to start building this garland. So I have one set of four, and I am placing another set of four at the bottom, and I am tying the necks together. You guys know I don't use 260s for this process unless my balloons are double stuffed and they're kind of tight on my hands. But I am just pulling out the neck of one of the balloons that I already have tied together, and I'm tying it to a set that's already on the garland. And I am repeating this step until I get the garland large enough to hang where I am placing it. So I am only placing one set of the cow print balloon in between the two sets of black and brown balloons because I don't want the cow printed balloons to overtake the garland. So I'll have 8 black, 8 brown, and 4 sets of the cow printed balloons. And that is how I'm going to build a garland. Let me know, again, if you like that idea or if you think it should be a little bit differently in the comments below. If you do not like the idea of tying the necks together, you can always use a 260 or fishing line to build your garland. I just prefer tying the necks together because it's easier and it saves on material. But you build your garland the way you see fit. 260s and fishing line work just as great. Honestly, if you're going to do this as a profession, you should probably try all the ways. That way you know how to do it if you don't have one or the other available to you. It's no harm in trying it every way, and that way you just know how to do it in case you're on an event and you just need to use some other trick. And these are the backdrops that I am using. Again, y'all, it's metal backdrop with the cloth. I am only doing the balloons for this setup. The planner was responsible for everything else. Just like my last video, same planner. She's doing the decor and I am just doing the backdrop. But the wind is already having its day, or having a field day with this backdrop. So I went back there, I tried to put some more bricks on it, and then I got my adhesive hook that just popped up on the screen. And I am going to put that on the back of the cloth to hold my balloons down. And I got my 260, and I'm going to tie my 260 to the adhesive hook and then tie the other side of the adhesive hook to my balloons. Now, shout out to Tammy and Shireen. I hope I'm saying their names right. In the last video, they gave me some very helpful tips on what I could have done for these metal backdrops for an inside event. So Sharina had the idea of using the clamps and just clamping the clamp to the backdrop and tying my balloons to it. That's a great idea, and I honestly think that probably would have just made it easier and been less expensive than using the adhesive hooks. So I'm definitely going to keep that in mind for next time, because you could use those clamps for wood backdrops too. So stay tuned for that video. Thank you for that tip. That was a great one. And then Tammy also said that no matter what install she's going to, she's always going to put her pole or something heavy in her car just to hold it down just in case. And that would have been great for this install, y'all. Like I said, I thought this was an inside install and it turned out being outside. We really had to go back and put a lot of wood on this backdrop to hold in place, because while I was building it and before I even started building it, it was blowing all over the place. So I already have my balloons attached and secured in one place, and I'm going to go back and secure the top. And I'm also going to secure the bottom so that it is secured in 3 places, and I do not have to worry about this backdrop or these balloons falling at all. Now that I have the balloons in place, I am going to start adding more balloons to it just to make the garland a little bit more thicker. I am doing this by using my 260s, and I'm tying balloons on each side of the 260s so I can wrap it around and put the balloons where I want them to go. I prefer using 260s than anything else, because if I wrap my balloons around and I don't like the way they look, all I have to do is unwrap it and I can use that same 260 again. For the sake of the video, I did add a little bit more balloons to that right side of the garland just for you guys. I did not go crazy with it, okay, because again, this was outside. But I did add some more balloons on there just to kind of give an idea of how I would like the backdrop to look if this was an inside event. And if it was inside, or if it was under something that was a little bit more controlled, I would have put like balloons right in between the big garland and the middle size one just to be a little bit more creative. But again, the wind was blowing, and when I did have my balloons at the top, they started blowing down. So I had to let that go and I placed it somewhere else. I'm adding some balloons to the left side of the garland at the bottom so that the bottom could just be a little bit more nice looking. And then I'm going to add a few more balloons to the top. So you guys stay tuned for that, and let's get this garland built and complete. So I'm adding a little bit of weight to the bottom of the garland just to hold it down in place. And by doing that, all I did was get 2 11-inch balloons. I added water to it, and I am tying them together, and then I'm going to tie it to the 260 and on one side. And then on the other side, I am going to tie 5-inch balloons, and I'm going to wrap those balloons around the garland and make sure that the water weight is to the bottom, so it'll hold the garland in place and give it a little bit more weight so it's not just blowing everywhere. Now that I have that in place, I'm going to add a few more balloons to the top to add a little bit more detail. And this garland is almost complete, guys. All right, and here you see me adding a little bit more balloons to the right side. Initially, I had them at the top, but like I said, the wind was not my friend. So I decided to put the balloons at the bottom for the sake of the video and so that my client would not have to worry about the balloons falling down. I am using the same steps that I used on the left side to build the garland. So I have 8 black, 8 brown and 4 of the printed balloons, and I'm going to tie them all together by the neck, and then I'm going to attach it to the backdrop with the 260. And you guys just saw that that balloon, or that backdrop rather, fell, and I had to get the client to put some bricks down just to kind of hold it in place even more. There was some already there, but they weren't heavyweight enough to hold it in place. While I was doing this backdrop, the event planner was telling me her husband was on site this time, and she was telling me how he said he could do what I do, or do the balloons itself, because it's not that much work. And I always find it funny. She thought it was hilarious too, but I always find it funny that people think like balloons are just the easiest thing to do. Like, y'all, I understand balloons are not like, I'm not building a house, but it takes work. People really underestimate how much work it takes to like blow up balloons, tie them together, bend down, collect them all, then reach up and put them wherever they want to go or they need to go. It's creative, it's creativity, but it is a lot of work. And I'm pretty sure I'm not the only balloon artist slash event planner that has heard that. And if y'all have heard that and it make y'all chuckle too, comment below, because I think it's so funny that people think it's such an easy job. And then when they have to do it, they're like, OMG, oh my God, I just really underestimated how much work this really was. And because it's so much work, y'all, don't cheat yourself, okay? Make that invoice reflect the amount of work that you have to put in. Don't second guess it. Don't feel bad about charging. If they're going to pay, they're going to pay the price, okay? It's work. And enough of me going on and on. This is how the balloons turned out, y'all. Y'all saw those balloons almost fall at the end, but we figured it out. We got some more bricks. And this was all I felt comfortable putting on the backdrop. It turned out well. The client was happy. Like I said, if this was an inside balloon garland, I would have put a lot more balloons on here just for the sake of my video and showing you guys some more creative ideas. But it turned out great. My client was happy. And thank you guys so much again for watching. Until next time, please make sure that you like, subscribe, share the channel with all your friends, family, other creators, and DIYers. We are going to be back with videos on every Tuesday and Friday, guys. Okay, Tuesday and Fridays, I think, are going to be the days for new releases, new videos. So y'all stay tuned for that. And until next time, y'all be safe and toodles.